Did you take your notes on what you're going to say?
What notes?
Your notes on setting boundaries.
I did not.
Lord have mercy.
Did I take notes last time?
Hey, everybody.
Hello, people. Hello, world.
Let me try and put the topic in. How are y'all doing today? How did I do it last time?
You pinned it.
How do I do that?
I think you hold it after you send it.
Oh, there we go. Hey, y'all. So today we're talking about setting boundaries. How are y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So you didn't take notes.
No, I didn't take notes last time.
Okay. You better have something good to say.
I had something good last time to say, so.
Y'all, so I come up with these topics for us to talk about, and I know like a bunch of y'all are coming like in and out, but I come up with these topics for us to talk about, and my husband is never prepared. He ain't never got no notes. He just always is winging it. This is marriage, y'all.
You don't have to be prepared when you're always ready, bro. What to say?
Okay.
What's prepared when you're already ready?
All right. You better have something good to say, because otherwise you playing games. So how was your week?
Let's see. Monday was Monday an off day? No. Monday was day after the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl night was cool. Monday.
Y'all, was anybody else at the Super Bowl kind of like...
I thought you asked me how my week was.
No, Terry, you're going through the whole Monday through. I just need a synopsis. Give me the Spark Notes version.
Go ahead, tell the people what you
want.
want.
But anyways, y'all, was anybody else wondering, like, when Rihanna hit the Super Bowl or hit the stage for halftime, was anybody else wondering, like, okay, is she pregnant? Is she not? Because I know she just had a baby, so everybody's kind of like, eh. It was really awkward because I know, like, with women, you kind of like, you don't want to expect everybody to snap back. And I don't know why. I thought that she had her baby like a month or two ago. So I'm telling everybody who were watching the Super Bowl with, like, oh, yeah, she just had her baby. I think she's trying to speak like body positivity. Yeah, everybody was thinking that or wondering that. Yeah, that's so, because I was just like, I don't know. Like, I would have imagined that. No, once I found out her baby was born in May, I was like, okay. But it just never occurred to me that she was pregnant again. Like, I don't know. I just thought that she was like trying to maybe normalize the fact that babies, that bodies don't snap back.
Yeah, I forgot when she gave birth.
Lysandra said, my sister said that's baby weight, and she said, nah. Yeah, I wasn't really sure if it was baby weight or not. And I didn't want to be like, you know, the baby was born in May in Rihanna's small frame, but certain movements she made, like her stomach kind of went in a little bit more. So I don't know. It was just kind of like you didn't want to really say what it was.
But then they confirmed it, so.
Yeah, but then when they confirmed it, we was like, oh yeah, congratulations, girl. But you didn't want to be the first to say, like, girl, your stomach was looking like there's a baby in there. Because some people, after they have their babies, typically look like that.
Remember when Rihanna came out on those little platforms? Mm-hmm. And then remember the video we saw of one of the dancers actually falling? Yeah,
and I'm surprised that she even was on a platform like that, being pregnant and stuff, because I would have been like, it's a no for me, but...
They probably had a mat down there just in case. Something.
I don't know. But yeah, so I'm glad everybody was kind of thinking the same thing, because we were like, awkward. Okay, so... Your week, you want to finish telling everybody how you week?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Yes, my week. So,
I had to get into Rihanna since you brought it up.
So, Monday, you know, office day. Tuesday. Oh, you don't want me to go through the
No, tell us how your week was. Like, what is going on?
My week's been cool. You know, been working, doing normal stuff, watching kids, chilling with the wife at times. So, you know. Life's been good this week.
Yeah, I would say the same. I don't really have too many complaints. Life's been okay. How's y'all's week been? Has it been good, bad, hectic? I feel like this week was okay. I feel like parenting-wise, it's been okay too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our kids haven't really given us a serious run for our money this week.
We
So
changed them to nighttime diapers, and that made a world of a difference.
yes, so we were letting them just go to sleep with regular diapers on, and then changing them in the middle of the night. My husband would go and change them at like 12 o'clock. And because when we would wake up in the morning, they'd have like these explosive diapers. But anyway, the doctor was just like, just give them some overnight diapers. We tried that before, but it created like a diaper rash and stuff. So we never tried them again. And we tried that like when they were like 7 months, I think.
Yeah, I was like, we tried overnight diapers before, but it didn't work.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. And they got a really bad diaper rash. So I was like, yeah, it's a no. And we didn't try them again until recently. And now some pee kind of seeps out a little bit, but no poop explosions so far.
That's better.
Yeah. But okay. So we will get right into it. The topic today is setting boundaries.
This is what the people came for?
You're new. Nice meeting you. Our babies are 15 months, twin boys, fraternal. Well, we really don't know if they're fraternal. Fun fact of the day, y'all. We really don't know if the twins are fraternal or identical. We say they're fraternal, but we didn't realize that just because you have twins and they're in separate sacs doesn't mean that they're 100% fraternal. They can have a 15% chance of being fraternal or identical. Or, I'm sorry. Yep. They'd have a 15% chance of being identical.
So I'm about to say, where the other 70 go?
Yeah, we just tell people that they're fraternal, but they're 15 months and they're our first kids. So it's nice meeting you. Do you guys have kids? Let us know. Does anybody have twins in the group?
Our kids are fraternal, by the way. You can just
Isn't that what I said? Fraternal?
I'm saying, you know how you say the 15% you don't know? You can look in their face.
Yeah, I feel like when we look at them, they look different to us. Some people say they look a lot alike. I feel like they look different more now than they did before. Because sometimes when we look at the pictures when they were first born, we're like, ooh, who was that? At the time, we knew exactly who they were. But now looking back, we're like...
Yeah, it's crazy to even think like that because... You didn't even, like, back then you couldn't, I could tell right off the rip. I would be like, okay, that's Terry, that's Tristan. Mm-hmm. And now I'm over here looking at some of those pictures. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I look for little markings because they still have little birthmarks so I can tell which one's which.
I feel like from day one, though, I've been pretty good. It was very rare that I messed it up. Mm-hmm. But when we look back at them pictures, we're just like, when they ask us, like when they're younger, Mommy, which one is this? We're going to be like, child, I don't know. So
one thing I do know, one is in the brown blanket all the time.
Yeah, their blankets had
So in certain pictures, it depends. But I don't know what age it is, but you can start to tell the difference on the picture.
Yeah, I say when they got about like 3 to 4 months, I feel like they started to change a little bit more. Because to me, when babies are first born, they look like aliens.
I was going to say a little bit later. I think a little bit later than that.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe 6 months. They started looking a lot different. But I feel like when they're first born, they all look like aliens to me. I mean...
When they come out, they look aliens.
Yeah, when they first come out. So... Lysandra says, I have identical twin nieces, 5 years old. Oh, that's really cool. I feel like 5 is a good age because it's like an age where you can kind of like, they're independent to an extent.
Yes, to an extent.
Yeah, like way more independent than our kids are right now. I look forward to that stage where you take them to kindergarten and all that stuff.
They cry when you drop them off, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I feel like Terry's going to be real dramatic, but
I feel the same way.
Okay, y'all, so we'll go ahead and get started on setting boundaries. So...
What do you define as boundaries?
And this is subjective. I think really everything is subjective. That's like going to be my favorite word today. But I feel like...
It's going to be subjective. Yeah.
I feel like setting boundaries just means some sort of limitation that you place that works for you and your spouse. Excuse me, y'all. Some of those things I think can be universal, but some things I feel can be just for your own individual marriage, I'd say. What do you think the definition of setting boundaries would be?
Like you said, it's subjective. So
you're so annoying.
See, look at this. How many times have I got hit on stream?
Okay.
So yeah, no boundaries. Certain things that I would say you would not do. Lines that you won't cross. Things that you can't allow into the relationship.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I like your definition better.
Yeah, for a guy that didn't prepare anything.
Although I can see you secretly reading my notes because I can see you in the reflection.
First off, I can't see your notes. You know I can't see your notes.
Okay. Anyway, so
Well, yeah, see your notes. I can't even see them.
Okay. So the first one I said is open communication. And I feel like that's important because number one, when you're getting with somebody, you got to kind of decide, like, what is your definition of marriage? Because I feel like that's something people don't really talk about. People don't really say, like, what do you think marriage is? Because for some people, that could be like, we kind of do our own thing. When we get mad, we kind of...
As far as open communication?
No, as far as just marriage. Like I'm saying, okay. Open communication is one thing, but under open communication would be like, what do you think marriage means? What does marriage mean to you? And what does marriage mean to me? Because if it doesn't align, then you've got some problems from square one. And I don't think we kind of talked about what marriage meant to us in the beginning, would you say?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, how many years ago was it?
Okay, first of all, it ain't been that long. But anyway, so definitely I would recommend talking about what does marriage mean to you. And I would recommend that before you get married, because if that person's version of marriage don't align with your version of marriage and you're already married to the person, then you've got a lot of problems. So.
Or you have some things to work through. It might not
or you got some things to work on. Yeah.
To work on, that's
okay. All. I like your optimism.
I'm going to keep bringing that up.
Okay. And then I also put, don't make assumptions, actually discuss it. When we first got married, and I'm reading my notes so I can stay focused. When we first got married, we had like a few different challenges in our marriage, and we went to seek out marriage counseling. You remember that? Mm-hmm. With Pastor Solomon and his wife. And he told me something that really stuck with me, which was, when you're having discussions with your spouse, don't create these false realities or not false realities, but like false interpretations of what your spouse is feeling without actually communicating with him. So I would be like, okay, me and my husband had this disagreement. This is how I feel like he's feeling, but I wouldn't ask him how he's feeling. So I'm just making assumptions based upon what I'm observing, and that's not 100% accurate. So I felt like I realized, and even this is good in any relationship, period. I feel like a lot of things get lost in translation versus when you're texting and when you're communicating, period, in whatever way that may be. I don't think we ask enough questions. I think we get offended in some of the things that people say, and we don't question it or we don't challenge it right then and there. But what we'll do is, and I was guilty of this a lot, I'll call somebody and be like, so-and-so said X, Y, and Z, and I felt this type of way. But then the question is, okay, you felt this type of way, but did you ask that person what they meant? And my husband is really great with that. He'll ask me, like, did you ask them what they meant? Because they probably didn't mean that. And so I realized that I did that so much that I did that with my marriage as well. Instead of me just saying like, okay, I felt like your body language was showing me that you didn't care. Is that really how you felt? And that's when he would say,
no, that's not how I felt. I would say I probably was just tired.
Yeah, so just making sure things don't get lost in translation.
Yeah, because I think you go in sometimes having like a preconceived notion about something.
Yes.
So you go in, you're like, okay, this is how they reacted. Okay, I need to put my guard up, so this is how I feel at the moment. And I think half the times it's not like that. You do come probably 10% of the times it really is like that.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't even say 10%. Let's go 1. That it's really like that. But oftentimes, usually it's a miscommunication at a certain point, and then that's when the tears start to flow. People start really going get emotional because it's really never bad vibes. Truly, it's especially when you're with friends or people you care about. It's never truly bad vibes. It's just there was something along the line that something was misconstrued, and now I'm saying you let years go by, and at this point, your relationship is falling apart, whether marriage, friends, family, whatever. and it could have been all been avoided again by just open dialogue.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
That made me also think about being receptive to criticism, because sometimes you're kind of like, I feel like in marriage, sometimes you could be, or as an individual, you could be very prideful. And it's just like, I know I can be sometimes like, well, I know this and I don't know what you're talking about. I know this for a fact. But it's like, okay, but you're not meant to know everything, and your spouse is going to challenge you and know like what has to call you out on when you're wrong, because you have to evolve, you have to grow every single day. And do you really want somebody who's going to just agree with everything that you're saying? Or do you, well, sometimes I do. Or do you
I was about to bring that up. You better be glad you said that part.
Yeah, no, sometimes I do want my husband to agree with me if I'm being 100% real. I mean, let's get real here.
But everything?
not necessarily about everything. Sometimes I do want my husband to tell me, okay, Destiny, you were wrong in X, Y, and Z. So, yes, you need to work on, whatever you need to work on. I think Lysandra asked a question. She said, very off topic, but how do you work through your partner's parents not liking you? What do you think?
You asking me? It's tough because really haven't had to go through that. But I guess, because I'm pretty personable, if I would have to say, for the most part. But what would you think? I guess I guess you meant for anybody. As far as not liking, because I guess I do have some. I guess I do have some friends like that. I would say just don't take anything personal. I would say just try to keep open communication. And I know it's hard, but try to find something that y'all can connect on. Or I would say, and because a lot of times from what I hear in those situations is that the other side, the other party, you're trying your hardest to do everything to do right by the mama or the father, whoever. You're trying to make sure you do right by them. You're, I would say, doing everything they want you to do. At the end of the day, I think as long as you're, I would say, true to yourself, you're real with them, you'll find something eventually that y'all connect on. And just, I would say, do your best to, keep that relationship. Because eventually they're going to see that too. And as long as they're not a despicable human being, eventually they're going to, like you said with your eyebrow ring, if they're not just a despicable human being, eventually they should, be like, okay, let's, finally, I know I've been hard on you forever. I found somebody new. All right, let's gang up on them. But yeah, that's what I would say. But I truly don't have like true experience with that, to be honest with you.
I would say, that's kind of hard to answer, because for number one, I would say, of course, you want that relationship to be like a really good relationship. That is your spouse. If the parents like you, it makes things a lot easier. But I would also want to know like why they don't like you. Is the reasons why they don't like you valid, or are they not? Because just because somebody is your spouse's parents doesn't necessarily mean that they're good parents, doesn't necessarily mean that they are being fair when it comes to trying to create a relationship with you. So I think sometimes we kind of automatically assume like, okay, parents are always right and their opinion always matters. But sometimes it does not matter. And we have to be okay with that. And you're not going to make everybody happy. And that's okay as well. So I would just want to know why. Why is it that they do not like you, and is it something that really is does it really matter, or does it really not? Because at the end of the day, your relationship with your spouse should be the priority.
But okay, at the same time though, okay, let's just say, that part is true, I would say, and again, that's probably part of the boundaries talk today. But at the same time, you can't avoid, your significant other's parents or family. So eventually that's going to come into play. So that's why I think that question was asked.
Let me give y'all a real life example. And no, I've never been married before, but I have dated somebody whose parents didn't like me and they didn't know anything about me. And that, even though that wasn't a marriage, it felt really bad to the point where it affected my relationship with other people's parents in the future. So it doesn't feel good when people don't like you, but then some people just don't have a reason why they don't like you. Sometimes women don't want their sons to be with nobody else because they feel like their sons may be like
I got a funny story. Man. Is that why you came in the all white dress?
Yeah, y'all. When I met, this is so off topic. We are like all over the place. When I met my husband's parents, because I was so traumatized by meeting a past boyfriend's parents, I was so like nervous and on my P's and Q's, and I came like so dressed up.
She came in a pure white dress.
Yeah, I was wearing like a white dress, like it was like a mini.
Think of Cinderella at the ball. That type of white dress.
It was like a sundress.
Over here, you would be scared to drop anything on that dress.
They were in sweatpants, and I was in a sundress.
Look, we're at the kitchen table playing ping pong on the table, and she come in here with a white dress on.
I was trying to be. First of all, I'm gonna try and be cute regardless. But
she asked me what to wear. I'm like, I'll just wear regular clothes. I'm like, we're not doing anything.
But I was so affected by, and I look back at that situation and that specific parent who treated me like that probably had their own issues going on, and have no idea that how they treated me affected me to this level. But it affected me to the point where I was so nervous. I didn't even want to meet his parents. I put it off for so long. I was like, but do I really have to meet them? Like, I just didn't want to.
And the thing was, I was coming over her parents' house.
Mm-hmm. He came all the time.
Actually, I came since the second day.
Well, first of all, I was living with my parents, and he was living with his parents. We had very non-traditional way of meeting. But so from day one, we met because of my mom. So he kind of knew my mom from day one. So he always came to my house to see my family, but I didn't want to come to meet his family, but turns out his family was really nice and they were really cool and very welcoming. I didn't really have any issues, but it wasn't about that. It was just about in the past feeling so like inadequate. Like a person can make you feel so inadequate, just not giving you a chance to even get to know you. So I felt like, I guess in a sense of rejection from day one. And so I felt like that's how all parents would perceive me after that specific situation.
Oh, hat backwards. So
I feel like every time I get on here, I be telling like my whole life story, but that's how I felt.
So did this happen a lot of times in the past, or was
no,
this
just one particular time? But the one particular time I was pretty young, and so I feel like I just perceived, even my friend, it got to the point where even some of my friends' parents, I was like, I don't want to meet your parents either.
So how young were you? Were you like 16, 17 or?
Well, I don't want to get into that because if I say all that, then people going to be dissecting like, oh, I know who it was. But I was young enough to the point where I was young enough to the point where even when I met certain people's parents, I would like respond back and say like hi or whatever, but I wouldn't, I wasn't like the typical person that I would be because I was so fearful of just that rejection from people's parents in general.
So instead of,
I would just be standoffish. Like instead of
so everybody else would be playing, you'll be in the corner on your P's and Q's.
No, I would come in and be like, hey, but I wouldn't like engage in a conversation. If you didn't talk to me, I wouldn't talk to you. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to really.
Oh, so they'd open the door and you just walk through.
No, they would open the door. I say, hey, but I wouldn't like keep it past that unless they're talking to me directly and asking me a question. I would basically try to avoid them because I just didn't feel comfortable. I just felt like every single parent after that was gonna hate me because I was a kid. And I just associated that situation with every single parent that I met after that. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
It is. Okay, so here's a juicy one, y'all. Friends of the opposite sex. What are y'all thinking? Do you want to share our perspective on this? Or do you want me to share mine?
Share your perspective.
Okay, so here's the thing. My husband, he don't need no female friends. His female friends are my cousins, my sister, hey Shy, my mom. So if he wants to reach out to a female, he can create or find a friend off of that list. For me, I don't have any male friends besides like, I could call his brothers, some of his male friends, I suppose. his dad. I mean, we just don't, we do not do that for several reasons. And I could just talk about one. You mind me talking about one particular situation with your coworker?
Oh yeah, you can talk about it. Okay.
So, one of his coworkers called him and was basically trying to get his perspective and tell him all of her relationship issues. And I felt like, number one, I'm a woman and I know game very well. My husband is very nice, very kind, and he doesn't know that women will try to swoop right in there and try to act like they really got this problem with their relationship, but really they're trying to get you to connect with them emotionally. So I peep game as a woman. I felt like she could have called one of her female friends and asked them their opinion about her relationship. Like, why are you calling my husband? And if you want a male perspective, there's a way to go about it. Now, if you were to say, hey, I know you're married, I want a perspective from you, then can you and your wife both get on speakerphone and we can have a conversation? But that wasn't the approach that it was. So for me, I just feel like women, most women can know a good man when they see him, and sometimes being married doesn't mean nothing to a lot of women. So with that being said, I felt like she kind of crossed the line, because it's like, why are you calling a married man to ask him about your relationship with another man? Like, I don't know. So for me personally, I don't feel like my husband needs any female friends. It's not about me being insecure or anything like that, because like I tell my husband all the time, at the end of the day, if a woman that you meet off the street can take you away from what we've created, then you could be with her and y'all deserve each other, because I mean, you've got a catch. I mean, what are we talking about?
That's why I wasn't hiding nothing.
So I think that I hear a lot of men talk about like, oh, if your woman won't let you have female friends and she's insecure. Like, no, first of all, that man is trying to play games with you and try to get in your mind and make you think that you're crazy, but you're really not. We don't need no female friends. Like, exactly, Nia. No new friends.
No
like,
new
we're not
friends.
doing any female friends.
Do we miss some comments? Oh, maybe not.
No, it's just people getting on and off, I think. But wait. We don't need any female friends. His female friends are my sister. He can call her anytime.
Yep.
My
Hey,
cousins, or anybody of that nature. My mom, she's available at any time as well. But we're not any female friends that's trying to like, because you just don't know people's intentions. You don't know, mainly, you don't know people's intentions. You don't know what women are willing to do. For me, I feel like I'm pretty good at setting boundaries, because a lot of these men ain't coming with anything anyway. So I'm just like, there's nothing.
Good at setting
No,
boundaries.
I'm not saying you're not, but I don't feel like there's no man that's calling me like, I want your advice. Maybe your friends.
I can think of one.
I feel like his friends be calling me about
I can think of one.
But yeah, you
I
don't
can
know.
think of two.
Exactly, Nia. You don't know people's motives. And that's what I don't trust. I feel like my husband's very nice, very sweet, very kind. And that particular situation I wasn't a fan of, because I feel like there's a way that you can approach things. So that's my take. No new friends.
In quotation marks.
In quotations. The next thing I would say is, do not place your happiness on your spouse. I feel like a lot of people are like, my husband needs to make me happy. My husband needs to make me happy. Or my wife needs to make me happy. But your happiness is within yourself. It's not within your spouse. So if I'm not happy, I can't make my spouse make me happy. That's something I have to find within. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because think about it with, that could be with anything though. That doesn't just necessarily be with your spouse.
Yeah, Mia said they go after the nice guys.
Oh man,
they do.
so I need to be a little bit more meaner. That's what I heard.
Okay.
I'm just
You need to be meaner to them hoes. That's what you need to be mean to. Say no to
I
hoes.
was say that was implied.
Okay.
That was implied. Anyway, what I was saying, I think that applies to just everything as far as like happiness, just your daily outlook on life. If you place that on somebody else, they can fail you or disappoint you.
Yes.
Because they're not you at the end of the day.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you have to be internally. You have to be you probably need some counseling if you aren't or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you can't place that on anybody else.
Yeah. Nia said your partner should only contribute to your happiness. Yeah, that's 100% true. That's something you got to find within yourself. And if you're not happy, then you've got to do some work to get to that point. You could seek therapy. You could pray. I mean, whatever it is that you got to do, exercise. But just a person isn't going to make you happy, like you said, because they're at some point going to disappoint you.
Yeah, go and get yourself something nice, but don't overspend, because then you really won't be happy.
But at the end of the day, material things can't make you happy either. Because if you buy it, then what else do you have to look forward to?
Yeah. Well, unless it's like a new game for me.
The only thing that's going to make you happy is Jesus. So y'all better get to know him.
Yeah. No, but being on a serious note, you really have to, internally, you have to like just work on yourself, because that's the only way you'll be happy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing I would say is be selfless, not selfish. I feel like in the beginning of the marriage, I felt like I was very selfish and I feel like we both were very selfish and made selfish decisions.
Don't speak for me. Didn't we what was your previous point? What was that previous point? Don't expect my spouse to make me happy. Don't put expectations on your spouse.
Okay. Anyway, we were both very selfish because I don't think we really understood. Just like with parenting, people can talk to you about these things, but until you are in it, you don't really know.
Yeah, that's true.
So we are from Georgia. Somebody asked that question. So what was I saying?
I don't know. You said selfish or selfless.
Oh, yeah. So when we first got married, we were selfish. We didn't really understand we knew some of the things that marriage entailed, but I feel like it's one of those things where you don't really know until you're in it. And the same thing with parenting. Like, I feel like now I know a lot more. I feel like if I can go back in time, I would tell myself a lot more things than I could have known back then, because I'm in it now.
Yeah.
Same thing with marriage.
Yeah, I would have told myself, prepare everything or have everything prepared so you just can get the bottles ready and get them to sleep. But selfish and selfless. Yeah, because there's certain things because if you think about it, you're from two different walks of life, and then you're entering as one.
Trying to
merge. And that's I keep saying it's in any relationship, but it truly is, because especially with marriage, you're in this pact now that you're together for life.
Yeah.
In relationships, you're not necessarily in a pact, but it's two people. It could be more people, whether it's a friendship, whatever. But you're in each other's space now. So especially like when you have your roommates and whatnot, and now you have to understand what you like. Am I willing to compromise on this certain thing?
Yeah.
Because I know you like it this way. But then there's the give and take, because if one person's doing all the giving, then they're going to become frustrated.
And burnt out.
Yeah, because they're doing all the giving, and it's like, okay, all right, you're not contributing anything to this relationship, so I don't think I should be here anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's where some of the things where you talk about selfish, selfless, that plays a major role, and I think we missed the question. Yeah,
that question, I skipped over it because that's actually going to be the next one.
Okay.
But with marriage, I feel like it's, people always say it's like 50-50, but really it's 100-100, because you have to be given like 100% of yourself, like 100% of the time. But sometimes I feel like you...
it's that new math. Okay, explain this.
Okay. Sometimes I feel like you're not going to be at the point that... you need to be, like, I would say sometimes in our marriage, there's times that I give like 20% and you're giving 80%. Or there's times that I feel like, vice versa. Because some days you just can't give it your all. But
I must have been sick some of them days.
Okay, well, I feel like
I'm just playing.
I'm trying to give some humble numbers, but I feel like I give a good amount of myself majority of the time. So, but you're not always gonna be Okay.
See, the
You
violence.
don't even hear what he be saying. He just said I get 45%. Like, you
violence.
first of all, you need to stop playing because you don't know what kind of women's out here ain't doing nothing. So you better let somebody
You know,
know.
a lot of women that I'm not getting assaulted on live
Okay.
streams.
But yeah, so you're it's give and take. You're always gonna have points in your life or in your marriage where you just aren't gonna be able to give 100%, and then your spouse picks up the slack. But you have to die to yourself and the things that you would do just solely as an individual, because you're not an individual anymore. You're in a marriage. You've got to consider the other person's opinions, the other person's perspective. Like when I want to go shopping and spend my money, I got to think, what would my husband do? And that kind of...
I think those are, so I guess this is still on the top of the boundaries that we're on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I think that is a good boundary, because especially, cause certain things like with me, like I would go work out. I could work out anytime. I could work out. I would wake up, go to gym like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just because I was by myself.
And that's a whole nother topic, because I'd be feeling like, first of all,
Because
life is dangerous out there in the streets. I cannot sleep if my husband is out at the gym at 2 a.m.
And I'd be perfectly fine. I think nothing of it, because I've been doing this probably since I was 17, 18. So I think nothing of it.
But you had to change the time to accommodate your wife.
So that's,
there's different sacrifices you're going to make. Whatever that may be, you just got to find a common ground, communicate about it, and do what works for you.
You know what was funny?
What?
Before the kids were born, I thought I was going to take them to the gym, put them in their little car seats.
First of all, our kids would tear up that gym, and we would be sent a really ridiculous bill.
No. I'm talking about when they were real young, when they weren't sleeping through the night. I thought I was going to be able to put them. I remember I was telling my dad. I was telling my dad this all before. I was like, all right, all I'm gonna do is put them in their car seats. They're gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna get my workout in, and then we'll be back home before they wake up.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
Okay. The next one is having some me time, which I think somebody had asked us about. Lysandra said, what's some things y'all do for self-care? So for me, I like to get my hair done, nails done, lashes done, really everything. Because for me,
feet.
Well, that's all included.
Come
but
on now,
for,
let's keep
for
going.
me, here, that's enough.
Self-care.
For me, I feel like even when I'm around the house, I don't like to look a mess. I like to look like pretty put together, because I feel like when I look a mess, I'm not motivated to really do anything. I just want to sit around and lay on the couch. But when I'm looking like up to par, when my nails are done, hair is done, lashes done, then I feel more motivated. What are you laughing for?
You said around the house you like to look nice. I was just thinking about myself. I can wear anything. I don't care.
Okay, well, I like to look nice. I like to be cute wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing.
Even when you're walking down the stairs.
Even when I'm walking down the stairs, I gotta walk cute. So for me, I just feel more motivated, because you're just ripping and running so much as a mom, especially. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it does something for me. Like when I look in the mirror, I'm like, girl, you cute. So that gives me a little bit of energy. That's my self-care. What's your self-care?
My self-care is having my electronics, having my video games, which I haven't played as much anymore. But
he's a nerd, y'all.
Being able to watch my TV shows. Wait, what's that? What that mean?
The ear square.
Oh, she want me. Oh, all right, chat.
It's okay. I'll
see y'all later. No. As far as self-care,
you just like to be in your game room, chilling.
And then just going to the gym. That would be me.
Yeah, going to the gym. That's his self-care. Yeah.
That's me.
And that's important, because you got to really just regroup. And to me, if you don't have that self-care time, then if you're not your best self as an individual, you can't be your best self in those relationships, whether it be in a marriage, as a parent, whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're not your best self, then I feel like you can't really. Yeah,
and I think the same thing, going back to the boundaries, you can't take too much of somebody away.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things, then, that's originally why you got with the person in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you take too many of the things away, then that person is going to lose themselves at the end of the day. So
yeah,
you got to kind of watch out for that too.
Somebody wrote.
Somebody just see him. Hey.
Avant.e.easley said, one boundary while in disagreement is always remember to attack the issue and not each other. Yes, I love that. Attacking the issue and not each other is very important because, I don't know, I feel like your anger can be misplaced and really, I don't know, like, who would you say?
Attack the issue?
I feel like you can just misplace anger. Like, I feel like sometimes you misplace
but
anger.
I think that's, again, going back to open communication. Because, you talk about it, then, again, there goes the issue. You're talking about the issue. And then eventually you get to the point where you're actually talking about things to either resolve the issue or at one time there might not have been an issue. It might have, again, been miscommunication.
Yeah.
So I think that open dialogue, again, that honestly probably solves a lot of problems.
Agree,
But it's the part that people don't want to do.
Yeah, agree.
Because people want to, even myself, you're like, okay, I don't want to really deal with this right now. I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this problem or this potential headache that might necessarily pop up. So I think that's where people get where people like, I haven't talked to him in a week. Well, you probably should have, because it would have solved a lot of things. So I think that
well, Sandra said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, good.
She said, it's amazing that y'all are so put together with twin babies. I feel like I would be a mess. So we are absolutely not put together. It's a struggle every single day. But I think that now is a pretty good time because I feel like now we've got a system. When I first had twins, most people don't really know this, but I was in school trying to pass my behavior analyst exam and trying to breastfeed, trying to still be a good wife, be a new mom. So I was literally stressed out to my absolute max. On top of that, my husband had taken a new job and he had to travel in the very beginning, like shortly after.
The start of New Year, I had to go to Virginia. But
then Florida.
But y'all were with me all through that trip.
Yeah, we came with him and stuff. So we went through a whole lot of transitions. But I feel like that kind of helped us to prepare to where we are now. So I don't want people to think that we're like, put together, because we're really not. We're a work in progress every single day. But I think that now our kids are 15 months. If we were to be doing this, like social media stuff when the kids were first born, we'd probably be all over the place. Actually, I didn't even have enough time to be doing this social media stuff because I was barely getting any sleep.
Yeah, I was like, we're not getting any sleep. There's no way we would have been doing this.
Yeah, no.
Y'all would have been getting these streams at like...
I would have woke everybody up at 3 a.m. So Tristan and Terry are not sleeping.
Yep. So I'm gonna be up anyway. So might as well talk to you guys. That'll be the only thing.
Yeah, and maybe one day we'll get on here and talk about when we first found out we were having twins and all that. We're just not really sure if what people actually care to listen to or interested in. I don't know.
Oh. I feel like you make the topic, so that's topic.
Maybe that is something we could talk about. So yeah, I think that's a good topic. Just to let people know, because I feel like people kind of think like, I know we were very naive to the fact of having twins. Number one, we obviously didn't plan our twins, but we just didn't. Well, I'll speak for myself. I didn't realize twins were so much work. I thought twins were super cute, and oh my God, they're gonna be the same age at the same time and go through everything, and I can dress them alike. But
I didn't care about the dress alike part.
Being an actual twin mom is like, whoo.
Yeah, because you would think
your girl is tired.
Because you forget that like kids don't come out holding their own bottle.
And just everything.
And that doesn't happen.
Lifting their neck themselves.
Yeah, they don't do anything themselves.
So you got to start from square one, and to do that not just for one kid, but for both kids at the same time. And this is it's a really good insight that we can provide for people. We'll do a one on that because I think that'll be a good topic. Okay, so we kind of covered this already. You can complain about whatever's going on, but be solution focused. So I
think that's similar.
Yeah, whatever is the issue. The issue is the issue, but not only that, you don't just harp on the same issue. You kind of be solution focused and try to figure out the issue. Nia said, was y'all trying to get pregnant when y'all found out? Yes, we were.
Wait, what?
Were we trying to get pregnant when we found out?
Oh, were you trying to get pregnant? Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did plan to have the kid. Mm-hmm. Well, we planned to have a kid, and we ended up with 2 kids. Yeah, but they were plans.
One was planned. The other one just came along for
the
ride.
One was planned, and the other one came as a package deal. Okay, and then the last one is fighting. I feel like we try to say, like, when you're mad, don't go to sleep mad. But sometimes I feel like we don't really solve the issue before we go to sleep, and sometimes
maybe somebody is still upset about the issue,
which is normally you.
Yeah, I would say maybe somebody's still upset, and then that's what happened. Somebody's still upset about the issue, and then
yes.
And then we might have to reinvestigate, open up the investigation again.
Yeah, because like I told y'all, I'm very like, let's talk about it. Let's figure out what's going on. My husband is like, no, I need to sit, let it marinate. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm a type of person, I try not to go sleep mad, and I love to talk about it because I always think the worst. Like I've already told y'all, I always think like the world is ending or something bad's going to happen. So I just would hate it if me and my husband had an argument and something happened, or really anybody. I just like to talk about what the issue is, hash it out, and move on. I don't like to harp on whatever the problem is, because you don't want those to be your last words. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, for people you care about.
Yeah, for people you care about. Yeah, for sure.
For other people, you might want them to be your last words.
Okay,
I'll just play.
You don't mean that, y'all. Nia said, I'm definitely a talker. I got the time. Yeah, girl. I think it's a woman thing. Like, I feel like we like to talk. And figure situations out. I don't know. Well, I don't know, because Cheyenne's kind of like...
I don't think it's every woman. I think it's just person to person.
Yeah, maybe person to person. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are our versions of boundary setting. Let us know. Feel free to message me or put in the question box, or even put in here different topics that y'all want us to cover, because I think that would be helpful too. Lysandra said, I'm trying to be a better communicator. Girl, it takes time. It's a work in progress. What
I will say is just bring it up, and that'll help. That'll help, especially topics you're unsure about, maybe even scared about. Yeah. Just bring it up. I would say at the end of the day, it's a conversation, especially if you care about the person. If you're a significant other, then that should be your friend as well. I would say possibly possibly your best friend. Yeah. So you should not be too scared to have that conversation, or even if you are too scared, just bring it up, and y'all can have a laugh about it at the end of the day. So just I think start there.
Jennifer said, 100% I'm a woman and love to talk. Yeah, girl. I think it's a woman thing. We just love to run our mouths. She said, sorry y'all, I wear glasses and I can't see. Somebody said, Lil Mama Tiff23 said intimacy. That's a topic y'all want us to talk about? Okay. Jennifer J. New said, LOL, my husband is hard man to talk to. Sometimes my husband can be a hard man to talk to too. He hears me, but he doesn't hear me, if y'all catch my drift. So he may be quiet and acting like he really is listening, but he don't respond the way I want him to respond.
So she wants me, so she'll go with her little soliloquy and her whole little diatribe about something, about a topic, and I'm like, and then I give my answer as best as I can. But and she'll be like, no, wait, hold up a second. I give my answer the best I can. And she's like, that's not acceptable. I need a better answer.
But if
that's not my answer.
Y'all, so listen. If I poured out my entire heart to you and your response is something like, I give you a paragraph, you give me back 2 words or 2 sentences.
No, it's more than 2 words.
It's just like,
it's 2 words.
Surely you've got more to say.
First off, if you write out a paragraph and I give out 2 sentences, I think it did a pretty good job. Think about it. When you answering questions on a test and you read a paragraph, I'm gonna say, do you respond back in a paragraph?
Y'all,
I didn't.
This is marriage. This is
I'm gonna
marriage.
say I didn't respond back in a paragraph. I
okay,
responded
so
back with some sentences.
Lil Mama who said intimacy. What specifically about intimacy do you want us to cover? And did you have a game or something that you wanted us to do, or topics or something?
I can bring up.
Does anybody have a relationship question that they want to ask? In the meantime, while he's doing his part.
I'm saying I do have.
I didn't even look up any hot topics, to be honest with you, to talk about.
Hot topics? I don't know if I have hot topics, but
oh, y'all! Side note,
I do have.
Since there's like quite a few women on here, I've been watching. What is it called?
Love is Blind. Oh
no, Faith and Familia. Adrienne Bailon, or I guess her name is Adrienne Houghton now. Her journey about infertility, and y'all, it is so good. I've been hooked. It's on YouTube. I would definitely recommend watching it. I don't even think you have to have like fertility issues to watch it. I think it's just good information to know as a woman, the importance of checking your body even before you decide to have kids. I think it's super important. But she shares her journey. So if you know anybody who's having fertility issues, or if you know anybody who's trying to get pregnant, or if you know anybody who just needs to keep the faith while they're going through the journey, definitely watch it because I love it. It's so good. Faith and Familia by Adrienne Houghton and her husband. So that's my recommendation for the day.
Well, I do have a few topics to talk about. One I think that I liked. It was a TikToker. She shared how to get through to a human, and we call through customer service.
What do you mean?
So you know how you call this customer service, you get that ringtone, and then they put you on hold forever? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So she said, all you have to do is hit £0, £0, and it should get you through.
Okay.
Yeah, she said it should get you through like less than 2 minutes.
I'm gonna try it then.
Yeah.
£0, £0. So 3 of each.
Yeah, 3 of each. And then you should be good to go.
Okay, y'all. Remember £0, £0.
Yeah, that's all I think. Oh, this was crazy. So, a Chinese woman, she divorced her husband who had $1.5 million in lottery win to spend on his ex-wife. I read this, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, a Chinese woman divorces her husband
who had $1.5 million on the lottery.
Let me get this together. So that's like you hiding some money and you had an ex-wife that you go and you spend the money on? Mm-hmm.
And she found out 2 years later.
Let me tell you something. I understand how people can end up on Snap because that is wild.
He gave $300,000 to his sister. He gave $100,000 to help buy an apartment for his ex-wife.
But you didn't want to give nothing to your current wife, who was what you shooting in the gym.
And then the wife, she got $400,000 as settlement. I was like, dang, that was
That's a shame, y'all. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And then this English teacher, I guess she was teaching in Japan. Mm-hmm. She was just like detailing like things that they do that we don't do. Mm-hmm. She was like, okay, so you know people like have their fancy shoes when they go to school and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Well, you got to take those shoes off and you got to wear indoor shoes when you go to class. I
think I have heard that.
Yeah, the kids have to clean up. They have to clean up a school after school. And you know how you go to lunch and whatnot, and they serve you lunch trays and whatnot. So you serve yourself, and then you have to clean up your tray afterwards. So it's not like no place where you throw your tray at after the fact. So I was like, ooh, this is a lot different than over here.
Yeah, that's, and maybe that's why the kids have a little bit more.
Yeah, I heard that a little bit more strict. I think somebody read like everybody had to dye their hair brown or something like that in one of these. I can't remember. But yes, definitely a lot more strict over there than. But we already knew that.
You want to talk about social media and how I just want to say this because social media is so we are on this journey. Initially, I started this journey of twin mom and just to share like my experiences and all that stuff. And then we suddenly got like a few followers, and I'm like, oh snap, people actually care about our content. So it's so like being a content creator, number one, is so challenging. I would say that I had no idea all that goes into it, because it's literally like, especially when you are working and not doing it full time. So it's like you're working your regular job and you're
Oh, we done missed.
oh, y'all, sorry, we didn't realize that there was questions. I'm just rambling. Okay, I'll save that content creation talk for another time.
Oh yeah, we done missed.
Sorry, y'all.
I was like, something not right.
Okay, so Lysandra said, how did you know when you were ready for marriage? Do you want to answer that first? Or you want me to answer it first? Go ahead.
Lysandra asked you, but
No, she didn't. She asked us both.
But how did you know? I knew when I just felt there was no other woman for me. I had just in my soul, I knew there was nobody else that had treated me so well, just loved me just unconditionally, and just gave me the respect I deserve. So at that point, that's when I knew I wanted to be married. And then yeah, it was kind of how it went for me.
How did you know you were ready for marriage? So in my mind, I always wanted a husband. I knew very, very, very young that I was gonna get married. And how did you know when you were ready for marriage?
So you was ready for marriage at 12?
Yes, in my mind. I always felt like I was ready for marriage, but in all actuality, when I met, right before I met him, I was very like intentional, and I had a very serious conversation with God, and I told God, I said, listen, God, I am, this is like our legit conversation. I am tired of these dudes out here in these streets. I don't want to do anything else like.
But every guy has to walk across the street, so I'm a little confused.
I don't want to do anything that, I don't want to, I just want the next person that I date, I want them to be someone that you send. And literally when I first met my husband, I prayed like, God, is this my husband? Because if he's not, take him away. That was my very first prayer before I even like went on a date with him or anything, because I was very serious on like.
And what she did as her test on so we went first date, went to Andretti and whatnot, and then the very next day she was like, do you want to come to church with me? And that was her so-called test, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to church. And
that was one of my tests, among other things. But
I never knew about. I still don't know about these multiple tests.
But yes, I did ask him if he wanted to go to church, because I was very serious on wanting a God-fearing man, because that was important to me. So yeah, I would say just mentally, I knew that I was ready to, number one, I had done a lot of clubbing and was living my best life and stuff. And after a while, it's kind of like you've already seen all that stuff. You see the same people out there. After a while, it gets really boring. I got to the point where I wanted like a husband to come home to, some kids. And I don't know. I felt like I was at that point where I just was like, okay, I'm ready to be married.
Okay.
Yeah. Cheyenne said her husband's getting on her nerves.
Oh, Lord.
Jennifer said, I have an issue with fighting fair. Any advice? Girl, I can relate.
Relate?
You want to say?
What you mean you can relate?
Because sometimes you just want to be like, ooh, I want to get him.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about who? Yeah, because some things you can say. So this is a part of boundaries again, because there are certain things that you shouldn't say.
Yeah.
No matter how bad, because it can end the fight. It's the one hitter quitter. It's the knockout punch. It's the Mike Tyson punch you got in your back pocket. You have that. So, but is it right at the end of the day? No, it's not right at the end of the day. So I would, fighting fair. And then again, the other party has to fight fair too, because then when they don't fight fair, you feel like you should come back with something equally as powerful. Yeah. And I think it takes discipline. It takes a lot of humility not to do that. But I would say at least on your end, just make sure you fight as fair as possible. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I said the same. And then you got to ask yourself, if I don't fight fair, what does that do? Does that help the situation, or does that create more conflict? Because
if you don't fight fair, it's never going to help the situation.
Yeah, no. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes you got to do like that self-talk, kind of talk yourself off the edge. Because, and then you got to also ask yourself, if somebody came at you crazy, would you respond in a positive way, or would you respond to be defensive and be combative back, you know? So I don't know, when I think of want to do like that tit for tat thing, you got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is that going to really resolve our issues? Because at the end of the day, it takes energy to keep fighting. It takes energy to keep being, keep going back and forth. And for us,
in the chat, they said, y'all can talk, so
I like to talk, but I don't like to fight. Like, me and my husband don't really do a whole lot of fighting, because it's just like, we may have disagreements, but I feel like the way that we have our disagreements now versus when we first got married is totally different, because it just takes too much energy. Like, for us, it's just kind of like, it takes too much energy to be mad at each other for a whole week. It takes too much energy really to be mad at each other for a whole day, because it's just like, well, I'm going to need you to help me change these diapers.
I was like, we don't got time for this.
Yeah, so I would just ask yourself, sometimes you do feel like, okay, I want to get back at him because he made me mad, or she made me mad, but is that really going to help the situation, or is that going to create more conflict? I would just ask myself that.
Yeah, now don't take knockout punches all the time either.
Yeah.
Let them know you got something in the back pocket.
Yeah. That's funny. I prayed for my husband too, and here we are 12 years later. Yes, that's really cool. Congrats on making 12 years. How do you talk about giving more support when you need it? That's a good question.
Honestly, I think it's part of the communication. So let me just tell you from just the aspect of guys. Well, I'll say for myself in general. If you don't tell me, don't expect me to just feel like I'm gonna just read you telepathically and then be like, you know what, Destiny needed this. I can feel it. I feel it in the chakras. Let me go ahead and help her. No, that's never good. That's never going to happen.
This is like our exact situation. A lot of times I feel like my husband should have like telepathy and know exactly how I'm feeling, and that's not true. I can't get mad at him for not.
Yeah, exactly. From a guy's perspective, we're not going to know. And I always make a joke with her. I tell her, I treat me like a soldier. If you tell me what to do, I am going to do it. And I'm going to make sure if it gets done. If you don't tell me anything, I'm probably going in this game room and I'm probably going to sit there and play video games, back in the past for the kids. So I would say, if you tell me, hey, I need help with this situation, boom, I'm there. Now, I do understand the point where, I shouldn't have to tell you to do everything. I do understand that. But certain things, if I don't know about it, you don't expect me to just magically one day be like, all right, you know what? I think she needs help with this. No, because I'm assuming that you don't need help with it because you're doing it by yourself. I'm like, you know what? She's doing a great job. Well, in your mind, you're like, man, I really wish I had another arm or hand to help me lift this thing. So yeah.
I think I'm guilty of that too, because I'm a type of person. I naturally, like, I can typically see somebody like struggling with something and I'll just jump in. But then I naturally will take on the world by myself if you let me. And I don't ask for help because something just feels good sometimes about, man, I really got so much stuff done today on my own and I did that. But, okay, that's nice that you did that, but you're depleted, you're exhausted, you ain't got no energy to do anything else. And so I had to realize, just because I'm a type of person that can see people and see that they need a helping hand doesn't mean that my husband is going to really see things the same exact way. And that's okay because that he's, who he is and I'm who I am. We're two different people and I can't fault him from that. So that's something that we really had to learn. And even I'm guilty of that now. Sometimes I don't ask him for help even when I need it because I also too feel like he's tired as well. But that still doesn't mean that I can't ask for help because I'm equally as tired. So it's just really in communication 100%.
Yeah, because I was like on like what we're doing now, like I understand that, I understand you're tired, I understand I'm tired. So, we'll both help each other out. But at the same time, you don't tell me anything, you might catch me in the room sleeping. And then you
yeah,
over
and then
here-
that's gonna make you even more.
Yeah,
mad
and then you're gonna
that
be upset.
Your husband is sleeping, and you're up here stressed out trying to figure out.
And that's when you bring out them one hitter quitters. When the other person said fight fair, that's when when you're tired. That's usually when you don't fight fair.
Yes, Joanna said that's such a good reminder. Yeah, girl. Hey, Joanna, girl. We need to meet up like ASAP. Lysandra said, I get so uncomfortable asking for help. I don't know what it is. I don't like to be a bother. I'm like that too sometimes. I don't know if that's like learned behavior or
I will say because to me it seems like you're not the person to ask for everything. Mm-hmm. So if you're not that person, asking for help is not going to be bothersome at all.
I thought about it too. Sometimes asking for help, and I think this goes into like my controlling nature that we talked about last week. If I do things the way I want them done, then they'll be done like properly, and I don't have to go back and do it. But okay,
what?
But if I ask my husband for help, he's not going to do things the exact same way that I would do them, and so
probably better. But let's go ahead.
Okay. And so I think that's sometimes why I don't ask for help. It's like, I have a system, I have a way of doing things, and if he does it for me, it's not going to be the same. But now I'm at the point where I don't care if he does it for me and it's not the same. At least it's done. Even if I have to go back after him, that's still less work than I had to do originally. Mm-hmm. So you live and you learn, but I'm like that too. I'm very prideful. I love to do things on my own. I like to be like, yeah, girl, you did that. You are a superwoman. But I am depleted in the end, and it's really just it's best to ask for help because
day after day, that's
you burn yourself out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then then I think did we skip something?
Somebody what is that? Cosmano?
That's what we going with.
We going with. Sorry, y'all, we mispronouncing, but said I could feel the connection between you two. Oh, thank you. That means we're doing something right.
See, physical abuse found on my cheeks hurt.
Jennifer said, sometimes we don't get on the same page, and I feel like I constantly am being the peacemaker. I need some advice on this.
What you want? Oh, you looking at me again? Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm trying to get him to talk some because I don't want to be the one that's always talking.
Oh, okay. So, constantly being the peacemaker. Need some advice on this. Depends. I guess it depends on her relationship from what I'm reading. At the end of the day, of course, I'm no expert, but if you're constantly being the peacemaker, you need to bring that up.
Yeah.
You need to talk about why, anytime y'all have a disagreement or if you're having some what was it, conflict resolution scenarios. Why you feel like you're the only person that stops the situation from escalating any further.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, again, it's equal partnership. So again, this is the give and take again. Right now, I would say it sounds like you're giving. That's going to burn you out too. So explain that piece and that portion to your partner, and then start the open dialogue. And that's the portion where people get scared to talk about it, but it resolves issues further down the line instead of holding things, whether it be 1 year, 5 years, or even a couple of months. Instead of holding that in, go ahead and get that in open now, so it doesn't become something later on where you can fix this issue now.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say about that.
And one thing I've learned, for those who don't know, I'm a behavior analyst, so I work with people with special needs. He calls it a bacaba, but that's not okay. Anyway, that name does sound kind of cool. But I say that to say when we're teaching people different things, I can't just say I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I have to tell you I need you to do X, Y, and Z, but I also have to model it and show you. So sometimes we have to really communicate what we're wanting, and we have to show people what that looks like. Because you can tell me that you need me to communicate, but communication to me may be different than communication is to you. But if I say, okay, Terry, communicating to me means when you say statements like, I feel like, or that made me feel like, that way I'm painting a picture of what I'm expecting him to say. I'm setting that expectation, but I'm also putting an example with that. So I think that
I feel like I'm in class. Let me get my notepad real
Where
quick.
I feel like this is relevant. I'm not trying to like go into like teaching mode, but I feel like a lot of times things get lost in translation because we do not set a clear expectation on what we're needing, and we don't back that up with an example. We don't say exactly what we're wanting, and that's kind of where things kind of go left. So hopefully that was helpful. Cosmano said, I never asked for help from my husband. How do I make him understand that I really do need his help and ask him properly?
Just ask him.
Yeah,
Just
you have
simply.
to start somewhere. You can't never be afraid of the word no. But you can't be afraid if you never even tried it. You don't even know what his reaction may be.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just ask him.
Yeah, just start. Because if you don't ask, you'll never get the help. Yeah, and you'll just be tired.
Then if he's not helping, that starts another. I would say that starts another total different conversation.
Yes.
If he's unwilling to help, but yeah, just ask him, because at the end of the day, again, it's a partnership. So you got to work together on these things. So it's a simple, just ask him.
Yeah, you should never feel like it's one-sided. Marriage isn't one-sided. Relationships aren't one-sided. No matter what kind of relationship it is, whether it be friendship, family, friend,
anything.
Yeah, everything's got to be give and take.
I would say even your relationship with your dog. If you got a little pet, I'm about to say you want him to do things. I would say, but you got to take him outside to go play.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Same thing.
Okay, everything's gotta be give and take. It can't just be on one person. And if it is on one person, it's not gonna work, because it's gotta be two people that's helping each other out, that's really working with each other to. It's
a team.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I would say it's any sport that you play. They always are. It's team formation. I always say it's a team game. No, I am team. So there is an I am marriage, but it will not work if I does not help the other I. So
yeah, that's true. That's what it is. It just isn't gonna work. It's not gonna work. And then also too, when you're thinking of people who are married, I hear people say like, I want to be married. I want to be married. I want to be like this couple and that couple. Just keep in mind that everybody who's married isn't happy. Everybody's marriage isn't successful. And everybody who's single isn't miserable. I think we got to kind of stop trying to put those labels and those titles on people, and really pay attention to who your role models are. Because I think sometimes we're like, well, one couple that this might make people mad, but like Offset and Cardi B, I see a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to be like Offset and Cardi B, but why? Like, why? I mean, number one, do you really know what's going on in that marriage? Number two, is that really like, even if somebody asked me that question, I would say something more like Barack and Michelle Obama. Even though I do not know what's going on in their marriage, but what I can say is what I do know of their marriage. It looks like it represents that two people are really loving each other, really respectful of each other. And if you don't have that respect, then you ain't got nothing. So some of these marriages ain't got the simple respect, and I'm not looking up to that stuff. So you really be careful when you're saying you're looking up to these marriages, because be really mindful of what you're asking for, because everything that glitter ain't gold. Okay, on that point where you just went left on me, but it's true.
I was just gonna say you don't know the true dynamics of their marriage.
No, I don't. But saying, but from the outside looking in, I feel like that's a. That
could be anybody. That could be us. On the outside
it could be we're a work in progress, so definitely
on the outside looking in.
Definitely know that this is a work in progress. It took us a long time to get here. Oh, sorry, y'all. We getting sidetracked again. Okay.
The scroll is not scrolling.
It's not scrolling for us.
No, you were the scroller.
Cosmano said yes, because we've been together for almost 3 years, whereas I do everything myself. Like, I tried making him understand that I need his help as teamwork. Yes, and if you feel like you've tried everything and there's nothing else that you can do, get outside help and go and seek therapy, seek counseling. If you don't believe in counseling, maybe you believe in going to church and you can get like some sort of mentor. When we first got married, y'all, we reached out. Well, I reached out to these pastors at our church, and I think I reached out to. Didn't I reach out to a therapist first?
I think so.
So y'all, my husband does not believe in therapy, and I'm a therapist, so that's very insulting. But anyway,
I don't think I said that.
So y'all, I found a therapist that was like tall like him. He had dreads, and he was like real like non-therapist looking. So I'm like, okay, well maybe if my husband has somebody who like he feels like he can kind of relate to, then he won't feel like he's talking to a therapist. But he still wasn't a fan. So then we went to
so my problem was I had to drive like 25, 30 minutes.
His problem was he just don't want to talk about his problems. But anyway, then we found the pastor at our church, one of the pastors at our church, and they mentored us, and him and his wife mentored us.
And they were right there.
They were, right there. They helped us so much. So, and this is from me being a therapist. Still, it does not mean that I know all the answers. It does not mean that I have all the answers. It's okay to get help. The problem is when you've got all these resources and you're not using them. So make sure that you're definitely getting the tools that you need, whether that be through having friendships or friends who are married that will pour into your marriage, not take away from your marriage, whether that be from finding people at church that can help you, mentors, anybody who can really help you pour into your marriage. Even sometimes your family can help you, but you need help. It's just like it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to help a marriage.
Okay, I was trying to see where we were taking it. She was trying to twist it in there. Turn it.
Should have. Jennifer said, my family is always trying to control me as an adult, and I told them that I need space because they always are judgmental or judging others. How do I tell them to back off without hurting them? So boundaries still apply with your family as well, I'd say. I would say that too. You got to set those boundaries. Like, hey, I hear what y'all are saying. I don't agree with y'all are saying. So we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. I mean, sometimes you just got to say that. My sister says that all the time. This is her new line that since I've been talking to her. I don't disagree with you, but I feel like whatever she says. So that's her way of not getting into the conflict, trying to skate around it, agreeing to disagree basically. But sometimes we have to set boundaries with our family, and that's just that.
But it sounds like she probably is around her family a lot, according to what I'm thinking. So you
can pick and choose maybe what conversations you're willing to participate in and which ones you're not.
But it sounds like they're bringing up the conversations.
Okay, well, girl, I don't want to talk about it, so I'll see y'all later. Let me know when you're ready to talk about something I want to talk about. Sometimes people just don't catch the message, and you got to be very direct with them. So, yeah. But, guys, we really appreciate you guys. I think that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We really appreciate you guys. Somebody said non-therapist, or Lysandra said non-therapist looking. That's what I was looking for, child, because he wasn't having it.
She didn't like the other therapist, though.
We really appreciate you guys asking questions and staying on. This is absolutely amazing. Please make sure that you submit your questions for our next live. We go live every single Thursday, 7:30 p.m. So make sure you join us. Make sure you share your live. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And we really appreciate you guys. We love all of your support. And if we didn't get to answer your questions, make sure that you send us the question so we can cover it next time. And hope you guys have a great evening. Bye, y'all.